And he talks about, how to determine if the sector is right for you is the name of the article. And then he goes into some of the investment criteria for mobile home communities. Infrastructure. So good infrastructure of the park is absolutely, absolutely critical. He cautions against private septic or wastewater systems and wells. He encourages investors to seek out communities with municipal water, municipal sewer access. I concur. I agree that it is most ideal for parks with city water and city sewer. The first park that we bought had neither. It's on a well and it's on septic. Okay, it's got well water, it's got a septic tank. Now, why did we buy it? Great opportunity. Got it really, really, at just amazing price and with tons of upside. And so our plan though is a short term. Like the thing with well water is, we've got a great well water system. We've had it checked. It's routinely checked and maintenance. But it's one of those things where if an investment keeps you up at night, it's probably not a good investment. And so you're always kind of wondering and maybe worrying about that. So that's one thing to consider. Now, that being said, it hasn't given us any problems. And I know people who've owned parks for decades with well water, and it's a moving part. So you got to maintenance, you got to service it, you got to check it. But ideally, you want city water, city septic if you can. So similar, he's generally opposed to master meter gas or electric systems, which essentially require a mobile home community owner to become a private utility. I agree as well. You want all your lots individually metered. If not, we have one park where they were not. It was an all bills paid park. We have about 90% converted everything over to sub-metering, which means we do have our manager has to go out on a monthly basis and read those meters, but it's billed back to the residents. And that's really a good thing for everybody. It's, of course, it's a good thing for us as the owners to drive down expenses, but it's also a good thing for the environment. I mean, they've done study after study that, all bills paid situation, people they're wasteless. If they're paying for it, they're going to be mindful of that, right? So that's a good thing. All right, so he talks about density. So ideal density for a mobile home community is about 7 units per acre. Some older communities have densities between 10 to 15 homes per acre. That's pretty darn tight. We're actually investing, our most recent park, the home, it's really a subdivision. Like, I don't even like calling it a park. It's not, it is a subdivision. The homes are on half-acre lots, and that's what we are. We have an offer out right now on about a 50-acre piece of raw land that we're going to develop into an affordable housing community, and put each property on at least a quarter to a half-acre land, and really just give people pride of ownership. And also selling that land is a I guess a byproduct of a mobile home park that we're going down that rabbit hole, and I'm super excited about that. So follow the show. I'll keep you updated on that as we progress into that. Location. He talks about, as with any real estate investment, location is a major consideration when evaluating a mobile home community. So here's a good rule of thumb. Buy a park that's with 20 minutes of a major metro. One lesson I've learned is to check out bestplaces.net. Find out the metro. You probably want to be within a metro of 100,000 population or more. They kind of warn people about avoid investing in rural locations. I tend to agree, but one of our parks is in a very, very small community. But there's exceptions to every rule, right? So we're in a small community, but it's a small park. It's 15 lots that we may expand to 20, but we're right in the smack dab, middle of the city, right? So you can throw a rock, and I'm not joking, to the grocery store, the hardware store, there's like a donut and coffee shop, like it's the hot spot of this small community, and we're right there in the middle of it. So we like that a lot, and the city likes us too because we've been fixing the place up. So they appreciate us turning away from an eyesore. So just be careful, right? Like you want to be close. The more population you have, because you have the more potential residents, right? So obviously that makes more sense. He talks about the ages of the homes. Homes prior to 1976, like they're just old. You can't move them. They're smaller. They're not really, they weren't designed, most in the most ideal way. So obviously you want a community populated with more modern homes. Obviously we try to, if we're buying a home to put on and sell, like we're not buying it to keep, we're buying it, putting it there to sell it. We want them built before 1990 or newer. Really, we're looking for 2000 models or newer, but we've even done a few 80s 1980s that were in good shape. But geography does matter as well on how long the homes are going to last. So for example, I'm down here in Houston, Texas, and one of my parks are down here. The others are a little bit further up north, and we're under contract to one in Illinois, actually. So if you're down here in the Houston or South, coast area, it's hot and it's humid. So what I've kind of seen and just kind of surmised is that homes in this type of environment, they're not going to last, as long as homes in the Midwest with a more neutral, less humid climate. So just be aware of that. All right, so let's talk about economics. Let's talk about this cap rate again. So Frank Rolfe, who I mentioned earlier, he talked about, the cap rate of communities could be rough. When you're looking at these deals, one rule of thumb they look at is that you want to be buying these buying these parts roughly 3 points higher, your cap rate roughly 3 points higher than what your debt is going to cost you, right? Your loan. So if you can get 7% interest, you need to be buying that thing at a 10% cap rate, which is going to make it a little bit difficult unless you're doing a massive amount of marketing like we are to create, more conversations, more opportunities. If you can get 4% interest, great. You can buy a 7%. You can buy a 7 cap, right? If you can get 4% interest, that's basic rule, good fundamental there to analyze deals. He talks about generally, this is going to provide a cash on cash return. You put money into it at around 20%. We've found ways to get these deals with no money down, actually. Now we're investing capital improvements. So we're buying these things with no money down. So he talks about more desirable properties. You may need to factor potential upside from rent increases to your model in order to reach that recommended cap rate threshold, right? If you don't have the 3%, 3 points higher than your financing when you're buying it, you darn sure better have a way to increase those, increase the income, decreases expenses pretty quickly, because you want to build that 3 point buffer really just to be profitable as a good rule of thumb.